Session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order.
This is a non-senior member, right? She's a
Correct.
senior.
Yes, so that's
So we
not
can-
working out. Okay. In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session, regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made as required, indicating that this meeting would take place at the Municipal Building at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025.
We're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Councilmember Ed Potasnik will lead us to the invocation.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and
justice for all. Let us take a moment. Let's take the few. Hold on a minute here. Somehow it's. Oh, that's better. Let us take the next few moments of silence to each seek our own way. Whatever sources of inspiration will grant us the strength and power in our thoughts and our decisions to be in the benefit for all people at all times. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois? Here. Councilman Karazi?
Here.
Mayor Kramer? Councilman Onijaka? Councilmember Potasnik?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Present.
Councilman Vasanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, next on the agenda is commendations and proclamations. Copies of the agenda are by the clerk on her table, if you need to get the copies of that. We're going to start with Earth Day proclamation by Councilmember Potasnik.
He's much taller, so. So folks from the Environmental Commission, come on up. I see at least 3 people. 4, there we go. Come on up. So happy Earth Day, everyone. Today is a wonderful sort of blending of a council meeting and Earth Day. And so I thought it would be really helpful for us to highlight some of the things that we're doing here in Franklin Township, thanks to the work of the Environmental Commission, members of which are behind me here and doing an outstanding job. And I think on the agenda we have a presentation about some of the work that's been ongoing from Tara, who I don't see just yet. Oh, she's away. So we're not going to have the presentation today then. Okay. Oh, we will. You guys are going to do it. Oh, wonderful.
The Environmental Commission will do it. You're doing it.
Oh, wonderful. So earlier today on Earth Day, I got to go to Essex County to celebrate the 10 years of the corporate business tax dedication for open space preservation at the state level, which provided about $2 billion for farmland, forests, parks, and open spaces across the state, as well as historic sites. So that was really exciting. And then I'm happy to be here today in my role on council. Earth Day is an event that's celebrated every year on April 22nd. It was signed into law to recognize that day by President Nixon. Whereas the Township of Franklin recognizes its responsibilities to the environmental equity and of our natural resources and conservation, sustainability, and resiliency through strategic planning efforts, education outreach, and the development of land use policies and projects. Whereas through its work, the Environmental Commission and the Shade Tree Commission, which you're going to hear more about, the Advisory Boards of Health and Recreation, as well as the Open Space Advisory Committee, and many other municipal boards and commissions and committees, the Township has implemented many environmental and sustainability initiatives and projects, including, but not limited to, this is an exciting one here, certification through the Sustainable Jersey program at the silver level since 2016, and former Councilman Dr. Ted Chase has been very instrumental in getting that going. The development of the award-winning Franklin Township Local Health Assessment and Action Plan, the planting of thousands of native trees through Franklin Township Shade Tree Fund. Thank you, Chairman Gahuli. We appreciate all that you do. Annual stream cleanups and community tree sales, programming for people of all ages and abilities on local open spaces and preserves, the preservation of lands that are both agricultural and open space for habitat preservation and protection, and the enhancement of our tree canopy. canopy. And lastly here, designing and installing green infrastructure strategies at municipal properties to help reduce flooding. Whereas the Township of Franklin is dedicated to bettering our earth and advancing principles of sustainability, resiliency, and environmental stewardship by hosting educational and outreach efforts, such as expanding the network of electric vehicles, reducing the single-use plastics, increasing the practice of food composting, cleaning our local water bodies, and more, and amending the municipal ordinance to increase our tree canopy, reduce light pollution, and increase the generation of clean electricity, making sustainability, resiliency, and health the cornerstone of all the projects and policy. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed the Township of Franklin and here in Somerset County on April 22nd that we celebrate annually Earth Day. Be it further proclaimed that the Township of Franklin in Somerset commits to continued work in achieving environmental equity, environmental stewardship, pollution prevention and mitigation, sustainability, resilience as a standard practice in all of our projects and our policies and our programs. And that comes from myself and the mayor, who couldn't be here tonight because he little time change from his international travels. I think he bit off more than he could chew, flying in and thinking he would be ready for today. And those of you who have done that from across the pond know it's difficult. So he wasn't able to make it tonight, but he wanted to be here and say thank you to everybody. And we'll have a presentation a little bit later. But I get to go to those meetings, and I can tell you they're reviewing a lot of plans. Every project that comes before the zoning board, they're making comments on it. It's quite an undertaking. There's a lot going on in our town, 47 square miles, and they're spending a lot of time. So on this Earth Day, we just want to appreciate everyone for the things they're doing. I know the Shade Tree Commission is next, so you guys will get a chance to stand up here. But thank you. Great job. Who wants to keep it? You're going to do the presentation? Okay, great. Thank you. Ted, thank you. All the time. Hey. Easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Arbor Day proclamation. Councilmember Vanessa.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask Chairman Gilhooly to come up. Mr. Gilhooly is our chairman of our Shade Tree Commission. As you heard, like the Environmental Commission, very busy with a lot of things and everything trees. So it might be the same one as last year, but I think it's worth reading again. Arbor Day Proclamation, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, where the holiday called Arbor Day was first observed, with the planting of more than 1 million trees that year. And whereas National Arbor Day is celebrated annually in April by communities nationwide as a time to promote the benefit of trees, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate temperatures, clean the air, sequester carbon, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuels for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our township increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. And whereas the Township of Franklin has recognized the value of trees by creating a Shade Tree Commission to promote tree conservation and planting and maintaining trees on public properties throughout the township. And whereas in a 2016 proclamation, the Township of Franklin adopted a tree canopy cover goal of 42% to preserve and increase its valuable tree canopy. And whereas the Township of Franklin has been a proud Tree City, USA for over 23 years. And whereas the Shade Tree Commission, in partnership with the Franklin Township Board of Education, will host an Arbor Day event on Friday, that's this Friday, April 25th, 2025, at the Township Gazebo, which is right out in front of the municipal building. It's a beautiful place. Please come for that ceremony. Now, therefore, we, James Vastanella, I, Councilman, and Philip Kramer, the Mayor of the Township of Franklin, of County of Somerset, and great state of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim Saturday, and the entire council do hereby proclaim Saturday, the 26th of April, 2025, as Arbor Day in the Township of Franklin, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands for this and future generations. There's a lot about Arbor Day. I'll let Mr. Goholi say a couple words. He's going to be giving a report highlighting the role of the Shade Tree Commission's lots of its projects, so he may be short here, but I did want him to mention about Arbor Day. And just in general, there's so many things out there that we do and things you can buy and a lot of high-tech stuff. At the end of the day, though, trees is something that's accessible, usually at a reasonable price for everyone. And whatever you could do to plant trees, there's also the proper maintenance that comes with it, and we want to keep them alive and healthy. But when planted in the proper place, trees really are truly kind of like a blanket, I don't want to say solution, but helpfulness to all things conservation and environmental. So please consider coming out for Arbor Day, and in general, think about trees. Mr. Gohuli.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Vasanella. I think you hit all the major parts, which is that trees are an important part of our environment. They give back a lot of shade, as you said, property value increases, oxygen. They absorb carbon, so they're a great asset. They need to be cared for. We work very closely with open space and with environmental and with the council, our partners in DPW and engineering, to put more trees in the ground, keep the ones we've got, and replace the ones that we need to. So more details coming up in our update for the council, but thank you for all your support.
Next, I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda and add council discussion item, which is the number 8.
Second the motion.
Thank you. So the first thing we have is environment. Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call.
Acclamation.
Yeah, it's up.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, carried forward. We have Environmental Commission report. No, we're moving it.
Oh, we're going to do it.
Stan, just make sure the mic is close to you. You can stand this way facing us, yeah. Yeah. Just has to be really close to it.
Is this what you're doing?
That's what he's talking about.
Okay. Good evening. It is my privilege to be here on behalf of Franklin Township Environmental Commission. My name is Stan Yaraj, and it's because Tara Kenyon, who is our consultant, she's not available today, and our chair, Paul Walitsky, and vice chair, Robin Sudam, they are not available, so the commission decided that I will present it, so it's really my privilege. And because I am so much environmental, I don't print, and I'll try to read everything from the screen. So some of it that I'm going to say was already said because of Deputy Mayor Potasnik. Our Environmental Commission is working to preserve and protect our precious natural resources and quality of life in all parts of Township. One of those things that we do is that we review and provide feedback on site plans. We advise, inform, and educate municipal committees, staff, and the public about environmental legislation, natural resources conservation, clean energy generation, sustainability, resiliency, and more. We advocate for environmental protection, sustainability, and equity. And we act. We do act. We maintain Sustainable Jersey certification, hold education and outreach events, support environmental legislation, and other causes. We create and participate in public outreach events, master plan elements, municipal ordinances, etc. We have 4 committees: Site Plan Review Committee, Education and Outreach, Communications, and Energy and Infrastructure. There are 9 of us, and we do have some volunteers. We are very grateful for the volunteers. We meet twice a month, every first and third Monday, and last year we had 22 meetings. Among our accomplishments in 2024 is we had 34 site plan reviews. We were using green checklist to that effect that we developed on every application. And some of the comments that we submit, they include requirements for solar-ready roof space on warehouses, requirements for EV charging stations, including charge-ready for warehouses for trucks, installation of pervious pavements, installation of anti-idling signage, installation of bike racks and simple bike repair stations, and use of native plants for landscaping and buffering. We conduct annually stream cleanup. Last year it was on April 13th. We did Sealy's Run. We collected 750 pounds of garbage, 285 pounds of recyclables, and over 100 volunteers participated. This event was coordinated along with Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership, with AmeriCorps Watershed Ambassador Program, and this year we were doing cleanup in my run, and for that we partnered with New Brunswick Environmental Commission. Completion of the Franklin Township Community Energy Plan and the Franklin Township Micromobility Study is another thing that was accomplished last year. $10,000 funding was awarded to the township by the NJBPU, and we used that money to develop the community energy plan. Environmental Commission agreed to do more work on the community energy plan following the templates available and resources we already had in order to better allocate the grant funding. And the micromobility study identified 2 priority routes to move people from the eastern side of the township towards the municipal building, using existing trails, connections to public transportation, and important destinations. We launched the Save the Mow Till Earth Day, which was motivated by No Mow May. In our jurisdiction, in our geography, we figured that it has to be done earlier in the year. This is all volunteer program to promote habitat for butterflies, insects, birds, and other pollinators. By delaying mowing on a section of people properties until April 22nd. We have numerous education and outreach events. We have film screenings. We had like 3 screenings last year, and we do partner with other organizations like Montgomery Environmental Commission and Hillsborough Green Team, and we invite our residents to each other program. We have information sessions on EV charging, the Green Amendment. We have tabling at Franklin High School Green Fair, Franklin Day, and more. We promote home energy efficiency programs through PSCNG with our new website and materials from Sustainable Jersey. We have social media posts throughout the year. And we have new and improved logo for environmental commissions. The goals for this year are food composting pilot with Canal Walk residents. We are very excited about it because the program is run by students, the new generation. We are also applying for Sustainable Jersey Silver certification, as Ed mentioned. Also, actually, in the health category, we are applying for the gold certification. We are very proud of that. We are finalizing recommended amendments to the tree ordinance. And we are assisting the planning board with the development of sustainability elements and the required climate change-related hazards and vulnerability assessment. We implement projects from the local health assessment and action plan, community energy plan, and micromobility study. And we do continue to partner with municipal boards, commissions, committees, as well as outside groups. And among them is Trail Advisory Committee, Recreation, Board of Education, Lower Raritan Watershed Partnership, and the others. and also New Jersey Electric Vehicle Association. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next, we have Shade Tree Commission report.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Thank you, council members. My name is Steve Galuli. I'm the chair of the Franklin Township Shade Tree Commission, and I thought we'd come back here. We haven't been back to you in a couple of years, just to give you an update on what we've been doing with trees and how we're doing against our goals for this year and what our goals are coming up for the next couple of years. So as you know, our commission is made up of volunteers. We're appointed by the township manager, Mr. Vornlocker, generously lets us do this work. We're established by ordinance to essentially take care of the trees and shrubs on public property in the township of Franklin. We don't have anything to do with private property or the school properties. We're just an advisory board for preservation and expansion of tree canopy in Franklin Township, and we have advanced training in shade tree management and urban forestry management through the state DEP and through Rutgers Urban Forestry. What we're not certified tree experts, we're not arborists, we're not tree inspectors or enforcers, and we're not the controllers of any funds. We have the Shade Tree Fund, as you know, but we do not allocate the funds from that. We make recommendations for that, but those expenditures go through the township staff. What we do is we promote conservation and stewardship of trees throughout the township by advising township officials regarding planting, care, and maintenance of trees on township-owned and controlled lands. We maintain the town's community forestry plan and its continued accreditation. We monitor the township's tree inventory and tree management plans. We contribute with the Environmental Commission and Open Space to the documentation for Sustainable Jersey certification and the public health assessments that we've done. We assist township residents to increase awareness of the benefits of trees and provide advice and information regarding selection, planting, and care for trees that are already in their properties. We work with the Department of Public Works to plan, plant, and maintain trees in the public rights of way. We work with Environmental Open Space to address any issues that come up related to our tree canopy. We work with planning and zoning to encourage developers to preserve, improve, and replace trees that are impacted by projects in the township. We maintain all of our training records, and we work to secure grants to pay for all of this stuff. We also now, this year, we're starting to work with grant funding opportunities with the Board of Education. There's some new funds that I'll mention later coming available from the state. So a few things we've done since we've been here last to give you an update. I'm very proud to say that the Shade Tree Fund funded and planted over 155 trees on Hamilton Street in partnership with Township Engineering, DPW, and the Hamilton Street District to complete the plans that were started back in 2016. And if you drive down Hamilton Street, I think you'll see now it's a very different view, especially as you get past some of the parking areas and some of the new construction. Now you're seeing trees that are blossoming instead of just sidewalks and parking lots. We're going to continue that plan on other streets in the township in years to come. We planted over 30 trees on Ridings Parkway in the southern end of the township in response to community requests. We added 40 new trees to JFK Boulevard to replace some that had passed away, all at no cost to the township. That was done through a partnership with one of the utility companies that had to replace some trees. We restarted our annual tree sale where we make trees available, mature trees available to township residents at our wholesale cost. We work with experts to develop an updated tree inventory as part and supporting our renewed community forestry management plan and tree health, focusing on wards 4 and 5. And we just received our Tree City designation for the 23rd year in a row from the Arbor Day Foundation. We had a special project this year. One of our newer members worked with Rutgers Forestry to complete an inventory of the Hutchison Memorial Forest off of Amwell Road. They contributed data to the state's heritage tree inventory. That forest now, as a result of that inventory and some of the work that they're doing at Rutgers, has been accepted into the Old Growth Forest Network as one of the 3 oldest forests in the United States. There are trees back in the back of that forest that have not been touched since the early 18th century, some of the late 17th century. Wow. Some of the largest trees of their species in the whole state of New Jersey are right there on Amwell Road back in the Hutchison Forest. We're working with Township Engineering to update the fee that is in the ordinance for tree replacement. If you recall, a couple of years ago, the council increased the fee for developers to replace trees that are removed as part of their work up to be a market price. What we found since then is the market price for trees, as you can imagine, has increased substantially, as a lot of things have in this world. So we need to keep the ordinance up to date with that so that the cost of replacing those trees and the funds that go into the tree fund represent the actual cost of replacing a tree. We're doing much better with our annual reports with the State of New Jersey and the Arbor Day Foundation to maintain our accreditation. We're doing better coordination with our DPW teams that specialize in tree care. Connor and his team are just absolutely amazing. These guys have advanced certifications and skills and equipment to maintain the trees along our roadsides and roadways. And if you've ever noticed as you drive, when you see one of those Nixle alerts that a tree branch has fallen in the road and you see that the tree has been cleared in an hour, that's Connor and his crew out there working very, very hard. We're also working with the township to support enforcement success when there have been a couple of illegal tree removals in the town. Those are more sensitive matters, so I won't be able to go into those, but Mr. Vornlocker can give you those updates if you want. And here's why this stuff matters, honestly. Back in 2016, as we mentioned, the township passed a canopy goal of 42% coverage. That means that at that point in time, there was 39% of the township was covered by trees. The goal was to increase that 3% up to 42% to try to get more greenery in the township for all the benefits that we've talked about with trees. Unfortunately, since then, starting at 39%, we are down to around 36.5%. The latest numbers we have from the state are from 2023. To put that in perspective, that means we've lost the equivalent of 156 acres of tree coverage since 2017. And to give you a sense of what 156 acres is, that's 5 times the size of Middle Bush Park. So we're planting all those trees, we're working very hard, but we're kind of losing ground. We're going to work on larger projects to try to gain on that, but the key to all of this is going to be preserving the trees that we have in the spaces that we can preserve. So some of the other benefits, as you know, of trees, neighborhoods with trees are 7 to 9 degrees cooler than those without. Trees reduce energy costs by up to 25% by shading buildings in the hot years and allowing sun to come through in the cold months, rather. Generally speaking, 15 trees will offset a human being's total carbon contributions. Trees and landscape plantings impact property values with a 4 to 5% increase in value and 20% increase in sellability in neighborhoods with mature trees. So that's why we plant trees, not just for the health, but also for the economic improvements for our town. And so coming up this year, we're going to focus on a few new things. We're going to continue to preserve and replace the trees that we have. We're going to focus on some of the more developed areas in our towns to reduce heat islands, urban tree deserts, and lack of green canopy, focusing on wards 4 and 5 with our updated community forestry management plan. We're beginning with a tree inventory in those areas this spring. Actually, it's underway right now. That data is going to contribute to both the Sustainable Jersey reports, but also this is a reflection of what we learned from the health assessment that the town did. What we found was that we needed to add more trees in the areas of town that are most densely populated in order to offset some of the negative health effects that we saw in that study. So we focused on that this year in partnership with Mr. Vornlocker and the town. It's really nice to see that we did a study, we saw some results, and then we all coordinated on taking some actions to try to mitigate those negative effects that we were seeing in the study. We're going to add more trees to schools and parks. We're going to partner with the Board of Education. The DEP, the state DEP, has made funding available to plant trees on school properties. The school department can apply for those funds. We're going to support them in those applications by recommending what kind of trees, how to plan for the tree plantings, and how to achieve the right information in those applications so they can get the funds and start putting trees on school properties. So we'll be advisors to that. That's not something we can do directly through the DPW. We're going to continue to update. This is the year we have to file a new copy of our urban forestry management plan, so we'll do that with the Rutgers organization at the end of the year. We're updating our tree maintenance programs and tree maintenance standards for the town so that we'll have documented standards. Whenever someone needs to put a tree in the ground, there'll be a guide that tells them how to do it and what the ultimate perfect tree is going to look like in Franklin Township. And we're going to continue to work on the things that we're challenged by in Franklin. As I mentioned, we're losing some trees. As you know, whenever there's development going on, whenever there's someone in town that decides to take down some trees in their yard, we're going to continue to focus on public awareness, public education, to try to make people aware of the value of trees and how to get new trees and what trees are appropriate for the climate in this area of the country. We're going to increase public awareness of tree planting and tree availability. Continue to increase our cooperation and coordination with the DPW and engineering to plant and maintain the trees that we already have. And we're going to work with the planning and zoning boards to try to help make our developers and property owners more aware of the value of trees and to preserve them wherever possible. So thanks very much. It's been a busy couple of years, but we have a dedicated group of volunteers. One of our members is here in the back. Bob has been on the board, on the commission a lot longer than even I have. And we're looking forward to another busy year this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're at item number 6, public discussion. Do we have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, say no. We have 5 minutes, no yielding of time. Come up once only. Discuss anything related to government. You may come up now.
Good evening, Michael Bryan, 40 Bryan Court. I have some concerns about the increased truck traffic on Schoolhouse Road. Recently, we were getting about 50 tandem dump trucks a day hauling dirt to a construction site. I called the police department, and they referred me to the traffic division. That was on March 27th. I left a message for the traffic division to call me back on that day. I did not hear from them for 4 days, so I decided to call them on March 31st. I left a message again. No call back. On April 2nd, I called again, and I told them I was unhappy that they were not responding to my calls, and I finally got a call back. The call back did not make sense to me. Most of the things the lady said, I totally didn't understand, so I decided I'm going to go to the police station and hopefully I could speak to somebody and get everything clarified. So I went to the police station. There was no receptionist, and the lady in the tax collector's office gave me the number for the traffic division. I called and I left a message. I'm still waiting for a call back. So I decided to get my questions answered, I'll come to the town council. When I spoke to the woman at the traffic division, the only time I spoke to somebody, I asked her when the cameras are going up that the town council said they were putting on Schoolhouse Road. She said to me, we know nothing about cameras. We know nothing about cameras, and that's kind of strange that the traffic division knows nothing about cameras. I questioned the signs. There's a sign on Schoolhouse Road in the corner of Randolph heading toward the canal that says no trucks over 4 tons allowed. The sign coming from the canal on Schoolhouse Road has been removed. There's a sign on Western Canal Road heading toward Manville that says no trucks of over 4 tons, no left turn permitted. Coming the other way, there's a sign that absolutely makes no sense to me. It says, trucks, hold on. Trucks over 4 tons, access to Schoolhouse Road ahead. I don't know what that means. I wish somebody could tell me what that means. The woman I spoke to had no idea where the restrictions for trucks over 4 tons are on Schoolhouse Road. How could the traffic department not know that? So my questions are, what happened to the cameras? What are the boundaries for the limit of 4-ton trucks? And I'd like to see a copy of the ordinance that says where trucks are allowed. I was told by this lady they could go through that restricted area to make local deliveries. I don't know what local deliveries are. I'd like a legal definition of the term local deliveries. It's getting worse. As the more warehouses are built, the trucks, it's nonstop. And the town is doing nothing to suppress the situation.
You get your answer when we're all done. When everyone
I'm
is
done.
No, not when you're done. When everyone at the public is done, your question is
Okay,
answered.
thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Norman Roberts, 15 Benjamin Street. I could not have asked for a better introduction by the prior speaker for my comments. I attended the planning board meeting recently where there was a discussion, introduction of the new ordinance or the updated ordinance on warehouses. I had several questions. I came to this podium and I was told that when I started my questions and the word traffic came up, I was told that basically I should stand down. They're not relevant to the meeting that night. But I do believe that with the members of this council dealing with the upcoming vote on the new ordinance, they should have these questions and answers in a concrete way from the planning board. My understanding of the traffic study, which the town spent a great deal of time and effort on, was that the result by the consulting firm was there were a large number of failing intersections that could not handle traffic. And the consultant had said that one solution might be to reroute traffic to local streets, but there did not seem to be an answer at that point. So my question with regard to this new ordinance is, how does this ordinance integrate the traffic study? And reviewing the ordinance and listening to the discussions at these meetings, I don't really see where there is an integration of the two. As the prior speaker mentioned, there are a lot of traffic issues, and I was told that when I used that word, traffic, I was told very abruptly by Mr. Orsini that if I have any traffic questions, call the police department. Well, the prior gentleman indicated that that's not always the solution. But I think in a much broader sense, before we adopt a new warehouse ordinance that does kind of embrace small and mid-sized warehouses, we have to have an answer as to how does the traffic study integrate with this ordinance. I also wanted to ask, and I think there should be an answer as to why this study does not attempt in any way to deal with warehouses built on spec. That if a warehouse is being approved, I think it would be tremendously helpful to know what the end use of it is. Also, I wanted to ask, I did not get the opportunity, what was the segue to go from the prior ordinance, which prohibited warehouses in the township, to an ordinance where we now have a broad acceptance of a large number of warehouses? And in reviewing the ordinance, I did not see, although there was a mention and definition of fulfillment centers, the fulfillment center issue and the large volume of traffic was not really addressed in terms of some kind of carve-out or a special treatment. It seemed to me, just in reviewing it, that if they qualified under the square footage requirement and several other requirements, then a fulfillment center would be okay. So, we wind up in a situation where we have a very, very intense traffic study concluding there are many, many problems with the existing warehouses as well as warehouses that have approved or in the pipeline, let alone a new ordinance that does, in a sense, embrace new warehouses coming to the town. So I don't expect answers tonight from any of you. I'm not soliciting answers, but I do think that it's imperative that before passing this ordinance, that you ask these questions and get really concrete, strong answers as to why this ordinance is addressing the problems that have been raised over and over again. I thank you for your time.
Hello, Council. Doc Cunningham, 11 Stout Court. Excuse me. Wanted to stop by and share an update on the upcoming Civics Forum set for May 29th, 7 p.m. right here in the council chambers. As you know, the two headline speakers are Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman and New Jersey Senator Cory Booker. I wanted to, Sean, Heben, and I are working from an actions items list. And so I won't go over the list now, but I'll mention a couple of things that we have already kicked off. For example, we've provided a link to a Google Doc that all the participants can view and get a sense for what the program of events will be like. For example, we're asking Township Manager Von Locker and Mayor Kramer to kind of open things up after the anthem is sung by a high school student, a ROTC high school student from Franklin High School. I want to quickly thank Councilman Karazi and Vasanello, who have provided us some information to help us connect with the community so folks are aware of this civics forum. And it's a two-part strategy. One is we're inviting people to attend in person, obviously, because we want to fill the building. And I'm not sure, and I think Sean is going to be meeting with Township Manager on this. I'm not sure if overflow is something we need to be concerned about, but it's just something that I mentioned to him when we had our last conversation. So it's a two-part strategy to invite folks here, but we also recognize there are those who might not physically be able to make it here, so we're also encouraging folks to organize watch parties where they can view it amongst family and friends. And we're making some headway with that. And again, thanks to Councilman Karazi and Councilman Vasanello. The last thing I want to share is there are a number of upcoming events in the township and in central New Jersey that I think would be helpful in getting the word out. For example, I believe there's an energy town hall tomorrow. That's something that we would like the opportunity to get the word out. So whether that means having flyers to hand out there or having a minute or two where someone can make mention of the upcoming events so the community is aware. There's also a town hall in North Plainfield that Bonnie Watson Coleman is hosting, and that's something I also plan to attend. So I'm sharing all of that to say this. When we plan to attend these events, we're not going there necessarily as if we're representing the council. But since this event is supported by and made possible by the council, I think it would be great for someone to be there, and I plan to, as best as I can, attend some of those events. So if the council can assist us in getting copies of the flyer that we can whether share at tomorrow's Energy Town Hall, at a future event at the high school, a future town hall being held by Bonnie Watson Coleman, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Debbie Stewart, 2 Farrington Plaza. Getting back to warehouses, I've kind of lost track of time and how things have moved along since the ordinance of no warehouses, whatever it was actually called. And I know we had Ram and Sheepa to our community the other day, and I posed the question, what happened to that ordinance? Why couldn't we stick with that? Now, I don't know all the details in the new ordinance. I think the simple answer was we can't do that. It just is not feasible. It was not an ordinance that could work. So my question really was, why did we put that ordinance into effect to begin with? There has to be, maybe not all of you, but I would say some of you probably understood it wasn't an ordinance that could work. So I'm just, basically I'm asking, why did we do that to begin with if we thought it could not work? And will the new ordinance, is any of this going to go to the zoning board? Do they still have to go to the zoning board, or it's just going to go to the planning board? I kind of lost the details. That's it. Thank you.
Jan Brandt, 22 Bryant Court, and kind of to tag along about what Debbie was saying. So with this new ordinance going on, so I guess it was maybe about a month ago, and the mayor, Sheepa, I was there. There were some residents from Canal Walk, Assemblyman Joe Danielson was there, and pretty much, testified of how these warehouses in Franklin have been there's been so many things about them that are hazardous to our community. And so, and saying that there just needs to be more done about it. And then when we have this, I guess it's going to be next week on the 29th on Tuesday, which really hasn't been advertised. I just happen to know that this ordinance is going to be presented on the 29th because I was at the planning board meeting. But, people in the community don't really know that you all, like I was at a meeting today at Canal Walk, and I told the people at the meeting, I have to go to the council meeting tonight to talk about this. Did you all know that I guess it wasn't a no warehouse ban, but it was where warehouses for development had to go to the zoning board. And a lot of people don't realize that this is being taken away. And not only is it being taken away, also it's, some of the things where it's only 200 feet away from a development is really unacceptable. And I know Debbie asked the question about, why was it there in the first place? And when I attended one of the planning board meetings where the traffic person spoke about it, he said that it wasn't sustainable because of lawsuits going on. And I know I go to the lawsuit site and I check, and the last lawsuit against the planning board or the township is B9 Schoolhouse from a couple years ago. There really hasn't been any new warehouses. There was one Iron, but I believe that was given permission. But there hasn't been any new lawsuits that are on the New Jersey court site against the Township Planning Board or the Township Council since B9. So I'm not sure why it's not sustainable. And just so everybody knows, like right now, 6,443,567 square feet of warehouses in Franklin Township have been built or are in the process of being built, and 749,000 have been approved but haven't been built yet. And then there's over 1 million that have completed applications. And this is a list that Mark Healy sent me of what's going on with the present warehouses. So it's just mind-boggling that we had a traffic expert come to our community and say that once the ones, and I'm not talking about the ones that haven't been built or approved yet, or just completed applications, but pretty much the traffic expert said that once the ones that have been approved and will be built, that all the traffic intersections are going to be at an F. And an F means that it's going to be standstill traffic. And right now, it's pretty bad. So, we were led into believe that this traffic expert was going to help us with the situation with the warehouses and all. However, now they're taking away something. And I remember the mayor was running for re-election when they came up with that ordinance that Debbie was asking, why did it get taken away? The Township of Mansfield, Burlington County, actually had 5.1 million square feet of warehouses in their township, and they realized that this was affecting their community. And I'll give this to the deputy mayor afterwards, but they actually developed an ordinance to say, let's hold off. They didn't have a no warehouse ban or anything like that, but they said, hey, let's hold off. Let's not build anymore, and let's see how the present situation with what we have going on the docket is going to affect our community and all. And that makes more sense to me, to follow a model like that. Why have it that, that we're going to keep on building and we already know we're in a bad spot. Talk about taking away trees. The warehouse that was built behind the ShopRite, I think it's 1,600 trees were taken down for that. And I want to tag along to, what Norman said. Also, we don't even, there's warehouses that are empty, as far as, just giving people permission to build warehouses, they're building them and they don't even know who's going to be occupying them. And the way right now the warehouses rentals are definitely, they're not what they used to be as far as people are dying to get them. They're really going to be less so of a commodity. So thank you.
No, give it clerk. That's her job.
Good evening, Council. Been a while for me. Shirley Tallman, 57 Tallman Lane. And I really don't have anything prepared, but I just wanted to comment about, enough has been said about the warehouses, and I certainly agree with everything that has been said, and I think you owe us some answers. Okay? Whether that comes from the planning board, through you, or directly to us from the planning board, you owe us some answers. But I want to talk about Metlers, because when someone previous to me brought up the issue about the cameras, I haven't forgotten the cameras, manager. You yourself said to me at this podium very directly, you said PSE&G is going to put the things up. Well, I called PSE&G. It's been a while. They said, we don't even know what the heck you're talking about, lady. Okay? So end of that story. But maybe a crazy, wild idea that I had one evening sitting at home listening to those trucks going down because evidently something happened on the interstate and they had to go around and take some shortcuts to avoid being held up on the interstates. They're coming down Metlers. The only thing, forget the signs. The signs are not going to work. Forget the signs, people. The signs aren't going to work. Okay? What I'm wondering is, could we build an attractive structure that they cannot pass under? You know how I got that idea, manager? Going through Manville.
Fire truck can't get under it.
Yeah, Manville did it, but they didn't have to build a structure. They had one, right? I think a train goes over it, or used to. And I'm not saying we have to build anything like that, but, you know, Metlers is a very special place. We know that. So why not? I mean, I'll be happy to have a rendering done to get your input, to hopefully get your approval. But don't tell me no, because you don't have any better ideas, do you? Okay, that's it. That's all I've got to say.
Benjamin Guy, 35 Patton Drive. Just wanted to bring up something, highlights, just so that we know what sometimes we pay for. As I stated before, you got a workforce program that you're doing in the school district, which is doing for the kids and one for adults. The next cohort for the adults will be probably in May. I'll get more details to release that, but the current program that they're actually doing, just in case everybody wants to know, because I don't see it ever highlighted here or brought up at the town council meeting. So the things that are being taught at the workforce program for people that might be interested or need special skills that live in the city of or the township of Franklin, which is they do CPR aid. They actually do OSHA 30 training, basic safety for construction skills, and actually confined space. And then there's a civil construction program, civil construction portion that's actually there. So this is open to residents actually if you live in Franklin Township. So this is sponsored by the town council, and it's offered to people that might be in or out of work during this period of time frame. So I'm just leaving that open to all residents so that they know that, because in order for this to be used properly, we need to actually explore and advertise this and market it right. And sometimes it's not done by the people we put in place to actually do it. So I just want to bring this up, and I'm just keep highlighting that. Second thing is this is for the township manager. Just because I didn't get a response from Vince Dominic, I was just trying to find out, because I missed the meeting from the last Hamilton Street Board meeting that we actually had for, we had an open forum meeting that was here for a study that we were supposed to do. I think it was March 12th. I didn't get the report, so I was just trying to see whether or not you can actually get that. You can actually contact Mr. Dominic. I contacted him twice to actually get it, but I didn't get the report from that open meeting during that time frame, and I'm not sure why. So I was just asking. Okay, so that's fine.
What study are you talking about?
Well, it was supposed to be a public forum study that we actually had openly here, that was open to the public. One of the town council can probably comment on it after I finish, but there was supposed to be an open forum meeting that was here, and we were supposed to have a study meeting. What's his name? Vassanelli could probably comment on it after we finish. That's the whole thing. So that's fine. The next portion that I actually want to do is just bring up, because it's getting summertime and springtime. I know we're Parks and Rec is actually let me putting programs out. I was trying to see if they're going to highlight them and come out to one of these council meetings to actually direct people on how to sign up for the programs, because that is something sometimes informational wise it doesn't get passed down to the community, and it's we should probably publicly push that out more and more, because if we're trying to keep the residents, keep the kids active and keep them off the streets, this will be actually activities that I think they should be highlighting at these town council meetings also as they push that out. So that is another thing. State appropriations. This is a real key thing that I actually talk about. Because we create these forums in the town council, sometimes we get, the reason why we don't get money and we don't get support the way we do from either state senators, state assembly people, or what have you, is because we hide when we have needs, or we hide when we get money from state people to hide out what programs we actually get that are supportive. So I'm asking for certain programs that the town council is supporting and get money from state people, whether or not it's state assembly, state senators, or anybody else. Those reports should be done at this reporting meeting so that the public knows what they can do, because in order for you to keep those programs going, you have to have numbers. And if the public doesn't know what you're doing, they're not going to be able to support those programs and keep getting funding to actually keep going. So that is a key indicator that is actually being done, and sometimes we don't highlight those enough at this specific portion of the town council meeting to actually highlight these things. And the public doesn't know, so the public can't support it, so that funding will go away, because the whole portion in government is that if you don't use it, you lose it. And that's a key indicator that we actually do. So we need to start doing that and holding our people that are directors or accountability partners to highlight those specific things, to put these out in the public so that we can continue to get funding. Because as these budgets get closer and closer and we get tax appropriations and got to raise taxes, the only way to offset that is to get other money or other revenue to actually pay for certain things, so that the government so our local government doesn't have to pay for them. So we don't do that. So again, that's one of the things I want to just say, that we should highlight that more, because Franklin is growing. It will continue to grow because we have to build more housing units, as Councilman Wright and Ram is actually doing now, is that we're mandated to actually do more affordable housing in this area anyway. So again, those things have to come about. But to offset taxes, we need to do something else to actually bring in other revenue at a certain time frame, and we need to look at that as we go along. So that is thing. And the last portion I just want to know is that we have a cannabis tax that is here. I know the CRB or whoever else is managing this. I just want to know what programs we actually are going to be using that for and designating that for in the future. So that's about it. Thank you.
Yes, correct. Everybody benefits.
Hello. Sophia Georges, 3 Hunters Crossing Road. I wanted to get some more clarity on the property tax assessments. I'm a real estate broker, so I get this question a lot. People would like to know what's going to happen to our property taxes. Are we going to be paying more money? We got our little white card assessments, and some of the increases were obscene. Okay, and I noticed the land increased, significantly in some of them. So my question to the council here is, what is going to happen to our tax rate? Because I know that we all would love our homes to be worth a lot of money, right? But at the same time, we want responsible budgeting. And when that happens, our tax rates should actually come down. So that's my question, is will our tax rates be coming down? Which does lead into the conversation, I know, this evening, where we're looking to appropriate a lot more money to the town. So that's a question that I have. In this scenario where we want our tax rates to come down, why are we not trying to make more responsible budgeting in order to keep our taxes as even as possible to make Franklin a better place to live, right? To have everybody want to move here. We don't want to have an affordability problem here, right? Also, I would like to know if we can get more transparency in the data, how the data to support those increases came about. I know I do it on a daily basis. I do market analysis for my clients. I can tell you that a lot of those assessments I can probably not justify. So I would appreciate if we could get some more transparency in how those numbers came to be. I know there's a whole procedure, people can contest it and so forth, but I think it would help and benefit everybody in the town if we could know how those numbers came to be. Because I know that there is, when you do those types of market analysis, you can't blanket it. You can't look at the entire township and say, you know, homes rose a certain amount of money, so I'm going to increase each home in the town the same percentage. You know, towns that are down in Franklin Park, homes that are down in Franklin Park versus homes that are up here by Middlebush appreciate at different levels. And there's a lot that goes into a home as far as improvements go, location of the home, is it in a cul-de-sac, is it, you know, so all those things factor into the value of a home. So that's what I mean by transparency, to make sure that there's not a number that's just being blanketed across all the homes, that there is some sort of a science to how those numbers came to be. And then the final thing I want to talk about, because I know this is a topic in a lot of other towns, is the affordable housing. Are there lawsuits currently in our town by developers as far as affordable housing goes? I didn't hear of any, so that's why I'm posing the question. There's other places in Somerset County that do have a significant amount of those types of lawsuits. So that was my question in Franklin, if we do have any, because that would also be an added cost and what we were doing about them. So, so please let us know what our taxes are going to be. People want to know, inquiring minds want to know, are we paying more money? Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Ella McKenzie, 167 Alcorn Street. I am a local minister in the area. I serve as assistant pastor of Transformation International Chapel, and I'm also a chaplain candidate with the Army National Guard. I've been a resident in Franklin since I was 12 years old. My family moved here from Ghana in '08, and I graduated middle school, high school, Raritan Valley, Rutgers, and so I'm in the area, and I'm currently a Masters of Divinity student at New Brunswick Seminary. I also serve the local NAACP, and in my spare time, whenever I substitute in the district. I've been to all 10 schools. I am here today to raise my application to the Hamilton Street Advisory Board. I submitted it on April 1st, and earlier last week, Councilman Charles and the mayor forwarded my application to the clerk, and so unfortunately they couldn't be here today because they're on vacation. But I spoke to a lovely lady outside in the clerk's office, and she told me to just bring it up, and y'all let me know what to do. So that's all I'm here to do. Alrighty, thank you.
What's his name?
Hello, everybody. Jack McLaughlin, Larson Road. Grew up here in Franklin. Love this town. I hate that. I don't even want to have to do this. Kind of nervous, but basically, you know, I'm a union member, and I feel it's my duty to speak up. IBEW Local 456, but it's nothing to do with the union. It's to sum it up, I don't like how the cannabis licensing went in the town. So me and my partners, when we heard about the social equity and the small guys having a chance, we started the LLC and we applied in New Brunswick. Now, New Brunswick did an RFP process, which was a very stringent scoring rubric, and they put a cap at 3 from the beginning. And, we were one of 7. Of course, we got outscored by the big guys. One of the good things they did was 51% employees, no matter if it's a micro, has to be New Brunswick residents or the surrounding towns. And, when I see, thank you Franklin Reporter for putting out the numbers of these dispensaries, it might look like a wow as a whole, that's not really net. And, multi-state operators, they just came in, saw the articles, Franklin was so receptive to it, so I'm sure you guys have been getting bombarded from all over the country of people trying to get a shop here. And, it's a little disappointing when I see people defend you guys and you point the finger back at the state and saying, oh, we have this many openings. Like, I feel like one of the senior conservatives who don't want it in the town, and I'm a pro-weed guy. It should have been a cap from the get-go, and don't blame the state. You could have made the ordinance a cap from the beginning. Yeah, the 2 big multi-state operators, they're going to want it. You could save 2 for the small guys, social equity. Some people might not know, there's a conditional application process, which is basically like a halfway there process. You don't have to have the property yet or anything. And then there's annual. That's what the big money people have, the annual. They're ready to go. So I heard the 18 people that are grandfathered in for the annuals, you didn't have to grandfather them in. Look, you got bleachers already closed. You got these other places already going to close. These people aren't from our community. And the most disappointing news, and I was going to try and save it to the end, is, 2 years ago, I believe he was here, Andy Wallace, maybe 3 years ago, told you guys, let's hold off, let's make sure it goes to the right people. And you guys were so gun-ho, and you got your $400,000 in taxes, so you guys are all happy, but I got some bad news for you. One of my friends works at Herb Dispensary, and, you 2 council members were there for the grand opening. This guy called my friend the N-word, used it in front of other employees, and if you go to his public Instagram page right now, we got screenshots, he's saying the N-word 18 times. This is who you give a license to? Does the grand opening, brings his Ferraris, Lamborghinis, family owns 30 gas stations in the tri-state area, and, I asked the council, these are the people, I'm curious, is there any family connections? Do you guys know each other? How do these outside people with big money, and they're not a multi-state operator, these are just some rich people. And now they put a dispensary on Franklin Boulevard, our most diverse area, and they're using the N-word and on social media. Your public, I'll give you the Instagram, you can go on this guy's page in front of this Ferrari, N-word this, N-word that. The guy loves using the N-word. So complaints going into the CRC, union labor lawyers getting into it. We want them shut down. And you guys should be proactive and shut them down before the CRC does. And honestly, even if this never came up, looking at the numbers, they're going to be closed in 6-9 months like bleachers anyway. Because none of these people are from the weed community. Who wants to shop with you? Who are these people? You go to the About Us on their websites, they don't say where they're from, they don't say their name. It's all the same chat GBT, oh, we want to build relations with community BS. So shame on you guys for whole pointing the finger back at the state. You could have put a cap on it from the beginning and made sure, we'll give 2 for Block and the big money people, but let's save 2 for the small guys and gives ourselves a chance. Miss Francois, I know your son wasn't an angel. You know what I mean? I know, I've been arrested for weed in Franklin. I'm speaking for many people. I got my friend, the other friend, he got a conditional, he's paying rent. I feel bad for him because anybody who we didn't even bother with Franklin because we lost New Brunswick and we saw 30 people approved for conditional. So why even bother? The first 10 are going to go to people with money. So, there was no consideration for conditional applicants. And, I didn't apply for Franklin, so it's nothing against you guys, but it's a shame. So I really want to know, how do these 2 council people that were at the grand opening, do you know this guy who using the N-word on our residents on film, and you guys were at the grand opening? Do you guys know him outside of this? How does this guy, they're from, what's that town outside of Newark? They're from Hillside. How do these gas station owners from Hillside get a dispensary on Franklin Boulevard, the most diverse part? Come on, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And I know all of them are going to fail. Just Block and all the big money people, they got enough money to not fail. But shame on you.
Your time is up, Mr. Jack. Thank you.
Seeing no more stirring in the council chambers, I move we close public comment at this time.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are we all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. We are now closed. We are at item number 7, address public comments and questions. Any council members want to address any of? Oh, sure.
You're going to
go
take
ahead.
some, I have to.
Yeah, if I can.
Do your part, I'll do I was going to go just in order of questions.
Sure.
That's what I have answers for.
So the first thing is, and I just want to maybe put some clarity, because I understand that the land use process is complicated. But I think that what happens is that in an attempt to try to create a narrative, people try to simplify it. And that narrative usually is, and I apologize for saying that, the narrative is always, well, that you're not doing enough, so I've simplified it to make it sound that way. Here's like some facts. The council passed an ordinance creating 500-foot buffers for warehouses. Some months later, the council passed an ordinance removing warehouses as a permitted use in any zone. As a result of the first the first ordinance, there were approximately 9 lawsuits filed. As a result of the second one, that grew to something like 12 lawsuits. None of them have been settled. So we understand. They're all still pending. So if anybody who goes on the e-courts, if you don't see the consolidated cases, you're not looking in the right place, because they're still consolidated. So they all still exist. There are also other ordinances that were adopted ordinances with regards to hours of operation. They've also been challenged. Some of those are on appeal to the appellate division already as a result of court decisions. So that's the actual facts as to what's happening with regards to the original ordinance. But that ordinance is in effect. It never was stayed. It has affected, and I think everybody who has been watching what's going on, it has affected the flow of warehouse applications. It pretty much brought them to a stop, because nobody could file an application without going to the zoning board. And I know that there may have been a couple have gone to the zoning board, but once again, pretty much it's put a stop to all of those applications. I heard 2 or 3 people come up tonight and talk about a draft ordinance. There's no such thing. There's no draft ordinance. Ordinances get drafted here at the council chambers. There's no other body in town that has the ability to adopt an ordinance or draft an ordinance. So there are bodies out there, the Environmental Commission, the Shade Tree Commission, the Planning Board, who can make recommendations, but their recommendations are solely their recommendations. The only thing that's in the public record is a study that was done by the Planning Board that has recommendations. There is no ordinance pending before council, so when folks come here and they say, we don't understand why you are drafting an ordinance that's doing X, Y, Z, it's just not true. It's just not. Those are just preliminary recommendations by the Planning Board, and unless and until there is a council person who wants to introduce an ordinance or direct me or the staff to draft an ordinance, there aren't any ordinances. All there are is recommendations. So I just wanted to make sure that that's the case. I heard some other things here today, and I just want to kind of talk about it, because these are things that are out in the ether. This issue of spec warehouses. Ordinances don't work that way, right? When somebody says they're going to build a house, we don't say, tell us something about the family that's going to move in there. Because we want to know, do they like loud music, or they don't like loud music, or are they going to put a pool in? Do they have little kids? We want to, pre-screen you. It doesn't work that way with ordinances. The way ordinances work are, we have permitted uses, prohibited uses. Sometimes we have conditionally permitted uses. And we have regulations that deal with things like noise and traffic and other items. So that's how we legislate. So the ability of somebody to build a warehouse on spec, let's say, or they haven't identified a tenant, what we regulate is the land use. That's what we regulate. And it's not appropriate for us to say, well, okay, so that company that's coming in, boy, they've been really controversial internationally, and I don't like what they're saying, so we're not going to approve their warehouse. That's just not the case. I suspect that this thing about spec warehouses is a product of a statement made by a mayor in another town, in which he said something like, "Yeah, if you have a spec warehouse, you're not going to get really favorably considered here." Well, I read those things because I have an interest in municipal government that's unnatural, and I apologize. And I know that, for instance, that mayor is the mayor of a town, and his township code doesn't say anything about that. In fact, his township code bans warehouses in his town, just like our township code does. So I think people sometimes get ahead of themselves, and I don't think anybody on the council takes offense to it because they're here to listen to what people have to say. But when the public listens to these meetings, it's important that they understand that there's not a draft ordinance that's being circulated around here that says one thing or the other. And the council really hasn't considered or acted on any of the recommendations. And when they do, that'll happen in these council chambers. And when an ordinance is introduced, then we can have that's a conversation we could have. And I don't mean, I'm not trying to stifle public comment here, but part of my role here as legal counsel is to make sure that we all are talking about the same things. And we could all have different opinions, but we should all, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but they're not entitled to their facts, their own facts. And that gets lost in the public discourse these days sometimes. And I think it's important that we all talk about the same thing. If I can, Madam Mayor, excuse me, I don't even know what your title is tonight. There was also some questions about the property tax assessments.
You want to handle that one?
Yeah, I can. Oh. And I understand that the person who came and spoke said they were a real estate broker. Some of this stuff is fundamental to being a real estate broker that I assume you probably understand, but I know you asked the question. What your assessment is a function of what your taxes are going to be, but your taxes are really based upon the tax rate. So that fundamentally means this. If tomorrow the entire value of this township doubled, if the township didn't increase its budget, the tax rate would be cut in half and everybody would pay the same. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody who's involved in the real estate industry, and I see it in the 60 or so towns that I represent, believes that the values of property aren't going up, especially residential properties, at an extraordinary rate. That's what you're seeing in the annual assessments that we get. The amount that your taxes go up is based upon the budget that will be adopted by the town. And then all that happens at that point in time is a math exercise by the county tax board, which is they take our budget, they divide it into the rateable base, and they come up with a rate. And, one of the things that happens here, I know in my home county, in Monmouth County, they have the annual assessments, and I kind of battle with them about this all the time because some towns say, well, the good news, the tax rate went down this year. Well, the tax rate doesn't mean anything. Nope. It's the amount of money to be raised by taxes. That's always the number. The budget number, by the way, it's not that it doesn't mean something, but it's not the number that's important. The number that's important is the number that's in the budget. It's on the first page of the budget, the amount to be raised by taxation. So that's the tax levy. If it doesn't go up, your municipal taxes don't go up. It's not your school board taxes, it's not your county taxes, but it's your municipal taxes. So, once again, always here to answer questions. Everybody on the council is here to answer questions, but I just thought that maybe we should put some of those things in context.
And I just need to go a little bit further because we did have a meeting at our last.
Could I say one other thing before you take all the rest of my time? Mm-hmm. They rewrote the affordable housing law in New Jersey last year, and we are in the middle of that process now. There are no affordable housing lawsuits because Franklin is in compliance with its obligation, it has fixed its number. It's now in the process of filing its compliance plan. Once it files its compliance plan, there can be no lawsuits. So the answer is there are no lawsuits. Franklin is pretty proactive. There were no lawsuits in the last round either. There hasn't been builders' remedy lawsuits in Franklin for, I'm going to say 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah, so thank you.
There's no hand raising. Your time is done, sir. So just a little bit further on taxes and assessment, because so we introduced our budget at the last council meeting. It'll be adopted at the next council meeting. I gave a report, the mayor gave a report. I'll give you some brief highlights to it because you asked questions. So as the township attorney mentioned, the amount to be raised by taxes, that's what determines, that's one of the numbers that determines the tax rate, right? So you have the amount to be raised by taxes, one of the numbers. You have the total assessment of all properties in the township is another number, and then the mathematical equation results in the tax rate. So the amount to be raised by taxes is increasing this year by 2.63%. It's going from just over, I'll give you the exact numbers, just under $38 million to just under $39 million. It's going up by exactly $1 million. That's the amount to be raised by taxes is going up by $1 million. That $1 million equates to 2.63%. So that's the amount within your tax bill that this governing body up here has control over, is the municipal tax. We have no control over the school tax. We have no control over your fire district tax, and we have no control over the county tax. It's simply, that's the one thing that this governing body has control over, and no, we have no control over the library tax either, Councilman. We have no control over any of those things. We have control over the municipal tax. The municipal tax is approximately 14 to 16% of your tax bill, okay? And as far as assessments are concerned, Franklin Township, like most municipalities in Somerset County, I believe all but 5 now, does annual assessments. Once every 5 years, your home is subject to an inspection for both interior improvements and anything in the interior of your home. And then for the other 4 years on the 5-year rotation, there's an external drive-by of every property done by an inspector in the assessor's office. And the values are determined, your assessment value is determined, and we refer to them as neighborhoods. That's not the technical term, but neighborhoods. In a development like Canal Walk, there are a multitude of models in Canal Walk, and each model is a neighborhood. And comparable sales within those neighborhoods are evaluated by the assessor's office, and that's what determines an increase or a decrease in an assessment annually. So if you live on a street that has homes that are very similar, for instance, maybe you live in the Levitt development where there's a number of models and there's over 2,000 homes, those models are evaluated similarly. The assessment is based on comparable sales within similar type homes in a neighborhood, in a similar neighborhood. So Middlebush homes are not evaluated alongside Franklin Park homes. They're evaluated alongside Middlebush homes. And that's done throughout the township annually. And that's, it is a very transparent process. In fact, last year, about this time, our assessor held a town hall meeting for anyone who was interested in the assessment process. We opened it up to the public. They were allowed to ask questions as they felt necessary throughout the evening. And it's been done on more than one occasion. And it follows the law as far as how the Division of Taxation and the laws related to that at the state dictate how assessments are done. It's as simple as that. So that's assessments, and that's the taxes, and that's how much the tax amount to be raised by taxes is going
One
up.
thing that you may want to mention about the appeal process. So if they-
Well, I believe you already mentioned it. The appeal process has until May 1st in Franklin Township to file your local assessment appeal. You're appealing your assessment. You have to file with the County Board of Taxation to appeal your tax assessment. And it's your obligation, if you do so, to show that the number is wrong, that the number is too high. It's not the township's obligation to substantiate it. You have to show that there are comparable sales of homes just like yours or similar to yours in a neighborhood like yours, that the sales were less than what your assessment is. What I will tell you is my experience, and I've done this for a number of years now, is oftentimes when assessment cards come out, people contact the municipal offices and have an issue with their assessment. And you know, the internet has made this job so much easier when it comes to explaining how the values of homes are available to you. You can go on any one of the realtor services right now online and research comparable sales in your neighborhood, and it will give you the last 6 months or a year's worth of comparable sales. It's not a difficult thing to research. And when comparable sales are generally above what our assessment values are, we have an obligation to assess to 100% in an annual assessment program. And that's what the goal is, to assess to 100%. Annually, we've been in the 98, 99% valuation range in the years that I've been the township manager, and we've been assessing annually for before I became the manager. So that's assessments. Appeal, County Board of Appeals. The information is on our website on the assessor's homepage. So now back to weight-restricted roads and cameras and signs. The sign makes complete sense, sir. On Weston Canal Road, heading northbound, the direction is to go to the next road, which is Randolph Road, that has no weight restriction. So the road says, go straight until you get to the next intersection, and at the next intersection, it says Schoolhouse Road, access, and it shows the right arrow. That's what that sign is for. As far as weight restrictions on Schoolhouse Road, and we'll talk about weight restrictions on other roads as well. The trucks that you saw on Schoolhouse Road that were tandem dump trucks going up Schoolhouse Road from Weston Canal Road were coming from the Manville Causeway and across onto Schoolhouse Road, and they were going to 31 Schoolhouse Road. That would be a local delivery. There's a building being built there that required a large amount of infill for that site, and that is absolutely a local delivery. Local deliveries must be exempt from weight restrictions that are not due to some physical restraint, like a bridge, per state law. There is no bridge on Schoolhouse Road that calls for a 4-ton weight limit. That was a decision that was made by a governing body of this township many years ago to establish that weight restriction between Randolph Road and Weston Canal Road. That weight restriction trucks have every right to traverse that section of Schoolhouse Road if they're making a delivery or a pickup on Schoolhouse Road. Every right in the world to do it. Because someone, it was probably you, voiced a concern to the mayor's office about the trucks. Well, someone voiced a concern, and I had someone reach out personally to the contractor who was doing work at 31 Schoolhouse Road and ask for, as a favor, they reroute the trucks up to Randolph Road instead of having them come up from Weston Canal Road. Initially, the company that was contracted to make those deliveries objected to it because with the large number of loads that needed to be delivered to 31 Schoolhouse, it was going to cost a considerable amount more in money for them to continue to go out of their way and up to Randolph Road to reach a point that in a direct line was shorter from Schoolhouse and Weston Canal. but ultimately they agreed to do so. That was a favor, not a requirement. We asked them to do it, and they agreed to do it. You shake your head, that was done, all right? If there are trucks that continue to use it, they still have the right to use it. By law, we cannot restrict them from not utilizing the road, to restrict them from utilizing the road to make a delivery of topsoil to a site on that road. So that's the answer to your weight-restricted road.
Mr. Manager, I think I also mentioned it at the last council, this particular topic.
I mean, we very well may. We've talked about weight-restricted roads and local deliveries ad nauseum. I have spoken about this on at least 25 different occasions in this room. They are allowed to travel on roads to make deliveries or pickups. That must happen. As far as putting obstructions in the way of vehicles, I think that's ridiculous, and I won't even address it. All right? As far as the cameras are concerned, several of the cameras have now been mounted on traffic signals. I'm not going to tell you where, but they're up there because I don't need to let everybody know that the cameras are looking right now. The Public Service Electric and Gas Company is absolutely, positively responsible, and not only are they contacted, they've given permission for all but one utility pole to have the cameras installed. That camera couldn't be put, they couldn't grant permission for that pole because that pole is a Verizon pole, and Verizon has now granted permission. But just because they've granted permission doesn't mean that they've run the electricity from the secondary power line on the pole down to an outlet that needs to be installed to plug the cameras in. Several of the cameras are up, and several more will be going up in the upcoming weeks. Public Service has granted approval not only for the location of the pole, but has also given us a schedule for the installation of the power lines. Cannabis tax. So the cannabis tax is tax revenue. So therefore, it goes into the general fund like all other tax revenue. Nothing more to be said about that. And I'm looking at my notes here.
Why wasn't there a cap from the beginning with the retail?
There's no discussion after you had your chance at the microphone, sir. That's it. You're done. There's no more.
Condescending since the moment.
Well, there's no more discussion. That's it. It's only at that public section.
I get it, but I can say that.
No, you can't. I think that was all of them, all of the questions that I was here for.
Did you address the flyers, Mr. Manager, for Doc? Oh, he already went out. You got the flyers? The flyers.
The flyers were already taken care of with.
Okay. Sir, we are going to get to that.
Sir, you're being
Sir,
disruptive
we're
to
gonna
a
get to
public
that.
meeting. You need to stop.
I know the Robert's Rule of Order.
No, you need to.
I'm not following it, but what's going to happen? I do it all the time. I'm surprised no one's denouncing racism.
Deputy Mayor, can I answer?
I was just going to say, so, Council, if you have any other
All right, no,
comments.
I was going to address
You
his
want to address
comments.
Mr. Jack? He just went out.
That's because Carl took him out.
Okay, you want to address it still?
Let's start council comments, and maybe he'll come back in.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so
Bob went out there. He needs to sit his ass.
we're going to go to the council comments, and then if Mr. Jack comes back, we'll address his as he comes back. All right, council comments. We're now on item 9. We'll start with Councilman Karazi.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank the Environmental Commission and the Shade Tree Commission. A wonderful presentation. It's just amazing, the work that you guys do. I can't imagine that having 100 volunteers for the Environmental Commission. What a great team you have put together, and that's just really amazing. And thank you so much. And the great work that you guys do is amazing. I had that list. It's just really impressive. Thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge the great work that our public work department has done. I had a call from one of the community members. They had 3 they thought there are 3 dead trees in front of their property, and they had a concern that they're going to fall down. And the gentleman told me that they have approached for the last few years the Verizon and PSE&G and so forth, but nothing has happened. So I contacted our Public Works Department. They sent the assessor. They looked at it. 2 of the 3 trees were dead, and they had to close the road, the Bennett Lane, in order to be able to cut the trees, and that has been taken care of. So a great work. And the person really sent a note saying that what a great job they did. Very clean job and great job. So I just wanted to acknowledge them and thank our public department. The only other thing that I have, tomorrow we have a Human Relations Commission meeting at 7 o'clock across the hall, and we have a presentation by the supervisor of school equity, who will review the township at diversity. So if anybody's interested, please join us, and that's going to be at 7 o'clock. Thank you,
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
Councilman Barson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to address a comment made by, yes, okay. So the Township Council receives invitations from many businesses for their inauguration. Grant, you are? Oh, okay. Did you see me? Okay, so this is not dialogue. Okay, your time is up. So we have been to many grand openings. PJ Parker and Mr. Bowman could attest. I'm retired, so I have a lot of time on my hand, so I go to many of them when I'm invited. For you to imply, because we look alike, your insinuation that we are related is really repulsive. You shouldn't assume things, and you shouldn't make unsolicited accusations like that. Is that right? So apologies accepted. So we got invited, so we went. These are businesses coming into town, so we want to show our support and welcome. All right? Apart from that, we had a planning board meeting, I think which some of you attended. Nothing happened there. There was no hearing. We had a death in one of our board chairs. Historic Preservation Commission, Advisory Commission Chairman Andrew Burian passed away unexpectedly about a week ago. He was only 46 years old, a great accomplished architect. He was very helpful to applications that come in front of the commission. He really treated everybody well. My condolences to the family. May I ask the council to observe a moment of silence. Thank you. So I take this opportunity to ask the community to come up and volunteer in that commission. They do very important work. Part of our township is considered historic, and this commission, just like the Environmental Commission, reviews applications for construction in those historic areas and do a very good job of guiding them so that they can build what they like to do. Other than that, I think there are 2 events coming up this week. On the 24th, right here at the council chamber, we have an affordable housing seminar that we are hosting. Councilman Wright and I are hosting here. The Central Jersey Housing Resource Center Executive Director. Yes, you can do this. Sharon Clark will be here providing information to those who attend, and we will have some handouts, question and answer sessions on that. And then last but not the least, on the 27th, we have Food Bank's annual funding drive, Tour de Franklin. All the bicyclists in town, we invite them to participate and support the food bank. If you hear the pitch, we have They've been serving increasing numbers of families in town. About 7,000 people are hungry in town. They serve about 1,200 people, so they need resources all the time. Kindly support that event as much as you can. That's all I got, Deputy Mayor.
Councilman, there's another event which is happening tomorrow, I believe. Assemblyman Joe Danielson is putting together because the PSC&G is going to be increasing their rates, I understand.
It's also Councilmember Pataznik.
Yes, energy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. You asked me to go ahead and answer it.
Okay, so moving on, Councilman. Councilwoman Francois.
2 for 2, Councilman Pataznik.
There's a couple things I want to address, you in particular. So there has been a lot of conversation about the tax revenue that we're getting from cannabis. We have made a decision, we're going to put that into our tax coffers to help us to stabilize our tax rate. So we're not using that money for anything other than revenue, tax revenue. The other thing I want to say, there's a saying that says, if you know better, you do better. Clearly, we did not know what we didn't know. When we started off where we should have done a cap, we were somewhat told that there were going to be restrictions at the state level, and we believed that. And then once we saw that we were being oversaturated with cannabis applications, we decided, based on free enterprise and competition, we didn't want people going out of business, and so we said, okay, we got to, shut down the floodgate and put a cap. Should we have done it in the beginning? If we knew better, we would have done better. So, nobody's perfect, but that's kind of what happened. And, I kind of feel bad also because no one up here spent time looking at those applications and figuring out who was applying and who should get an application, who we should approve. The staff did that. Council did not get involved in any of that. And that's why we have staff. Most of us have full-time jobs, and we work. No, you can't say anything, but you could stay and you can talk to me afterwards, or you could give me a call. I'd be happy to talk to you. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I have 25 trees in my backyard. And I like to hear about how wonderful trees are. And I bought that house because it had so many trees. But I can tell you, I have had those trees fall down on my roof. I have cracks in the ceiling. And on top of that, just this year alone, I've spent thousands of dollars getting dead trees removed, paying for termite control, getting leaves picked up, getting branches picked up. The people charge hundreds and hundreds of dollars to clean up the debris. So although I love the trees, they are somewhat of a liability, and they do cost a lot of money. I'm not cutting down any trees. I'm waiting for them to fall down. But depending on where they fall, they may cost me money. And people have said to me, you should cut down the trees, and you should trim the trees down. They shouldn't be over your house, but I like the shade. I like looking at the trees. But trees can be a liability as well. But I appreciate the report because I do love looking at the trees. So that's all I have. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the Environmental Commission. It was really nice to hear your report. You guys are doing a lot. You're doing a lot, and we really appreciate the fact that you give of your time and your talent, and you volunteer, and you've been doing all this work for free. We really appreciate it. It's not unappreciated. Thank you so much. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple of things that came up. Recreation meeting, if you want to know about anything recreation, got to go to the website. I keep saying it. If you want to know about recreation, please go to the website. There are a lot of great things coming up for the summer. Can't say anything else about that. On the Housing Authority, I talked to Mr. Toto today about where we are as far as housing. He's our executive director for our housing authority, such as it is, and he informed me that the waiting list he cut off last year because, again, there's just no affordable housing. There's just no room for it here. So as far as that's concerned, there's a waiting list, just like it's all over Somerset County. There's a waiting list for affordable housing. And I think our township manager touched on it. We are the best in the state of affordable housing. We have affordable housing all over the township, and places you wouldn't even think to look. We have affordable housing. So we are the model, as the state says, we are the model for affordable housing in the state of New Jersey. Part two of that. On our redevelopment agency meeting last night, what we did was we sent out an RFP for property that needs to be developed for affordable housing. Now, the property is located off of 27 behind Burger King, and that's between Burger King and Neiman Williams Park. Part of it is developed and part of it's not, and that's what we sent out for, is to finish up that little area for affordable housing. So that went out last night, so we should be getting some bids or prospects coming through the door. And that's something that we should all be happy about. Those three things are about it, Madam Mayor. Just so you know, our executive director for the Housing Authority, we brought in one Mr. Clark 4 years ago, and we split time with him. As he moved into New Brunswick. So it didn't cost us a lot of money because, again, they paid half and RPM paid half, not the township. RPM paid half of his salary. And that's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Potasnik.
Thank you. Yes, thank you to the Environmental Commission, to the Shade Tree Commission. We appreciate you guys being here, particularly in a pinch. Great presentations and for your work. We appreciate it. Last week, about 3 times as many people that are here right now came to a workshop on Coop Dreams, how to raise a backyard flock. And it was really quite exciting. Kate Brown from the Rutgers Agricultural Extension was joined by our animal control officer, Katie, and they did a great job in sort of getting people started on everything they need to know about how to raise chickens for mostly eggs in the town and sort of the allowable uses, et cetera. So I just want to thank them publicly for the tremendous job that they're doing. I'm sure questions will abound, and we had a few folks there, including myself, who have chickens to help answer questions as folks get started. They're still available at different places to get the chicks, and if you're interested in learning more, definitely reach out to me. Tomorrow night at 6:30, Assemblyman Danielson is hosting an energy town hall. Just so folks know, on June 1st, PSE&G rates will increase 17%. So to help explain how that happened and what's behind that, there's going to be a whole bunch of experts here. I'll be on that panel in my day job. So I'm pleased to share some of my experiences. And then also just know separately, the council is moving forward with a voter-approved energy aggregation plan to help reduce electricity rates in the wake of both the rising energy costs through the utility and the regional grid, but also because we've been told by the consultant, there is an opportunity for us to meet our criteria, which is to save 5% over the current energy supply and get 10% cleaner energy as well. So that should happen over the summer. Hopefully we get bids in and they're competitive. We can award it at a meeting, and it would go into effect in fall to help saving families money. So we have to meet at least the floor of 5%, and hopefully we'd like to save even more than 5%. The second thing is, this is for the members of the council. In your folder, thank you, Anne Marie, for including a resolution from Fire District 4. And I'm going to read some sections of this, but some folks may remember that we had a meeting in March 11th where we looked at, because the voters in Fire District 4 rejected the budget, we had to make some adjustments to it. And thanks to the folks on the administration committee, the mayor and Township Manager Vornlocker, we were able to crunch some numbers and get to a fair, equitable piece. But just for the public, I'm not going to read everything here, but Whereas the Franklin Township Council, through their diligent and thorough analysis during the work session on March 11th, played a critical role in establishing a fair and equitable budget allocation for Franklin Township Fire District 4, and whereas the council's efforts successfully clarified the financial complexities and demonstrated a significant imbalance in the previous proposed cost-sharing arrangement with South Brunswick Fire District 3, yada, yada, yada. It's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Therefore, now be resolved. These are the things sort of at the end. Franklin Township Fire District 4 acknowledges and expresses its deep gratitude to the Franklin Township Council for its meticulous analysis and determination for a fair budget allocation, recognizes the council's role in revealing the significant imbalance previously proposed cost-sharing agreement, acknowledges the council's fair valuation led to the end of contract negotiations with South Brunswick Fire District 3 due to their unwillingness to further negotiate the contract, and affirms the council's efforts have protected the financial interests of Franklin Township Fire District 4 and ensured that the residents of the Kingston community receive full fire protection services at a fair share, reasonable cost. This is half the cost that the budget was. And I wanted to let folks know they did enter into a contract on time with no disruption with Rocky Hill as their primary fire provider, and then secondarily with Griggstown and Little Rocky Hill. And I know that there are folks that are still disappointed because the Kingston Fire Company, which is in South Brunswick, has provided over 100 years of fire service to the community, separated by highway, the Kings Highway 27, in 2 different counties and 2 different towns. But they definitely were being overcharged. The voters had gotten it right, and they were able to secure fire services at the price, actually a little bit cheaper. We authorized, I think, $38,000. The contract was for $35,000. It was a 2-year contract with a 2% escalation. So I just wanted to, sometimes we don't hear the end of the story, and so it's nice to sort of close the loop on that, the appreciation from the fire district and the taxpayers of paying about half of what they would have. So thank you all.
Thank you. Councilman Pansanella.
Yeah, I have a bunch of things. I'll try to get through them quickly. I'm going to piggyback on a couple of things Councilwoman Francois said. So seriously, and I did emphasize trees in the right places, and that's what we're doing. There's places we actually have to take them down because they were planted and they're damaging curbs and whatever ones the town's responsible for. So we are carefully looking at that, and I'm sure you're going to see some plans coming forward that asking for council's approval on, I'm going to call it little mini, micro, whatever. There's all kinds of names, but forestry, basically going to where it is safe and filling in when we have public right away that it's safe to do it, or a park or open space. So it really is. The devil's in the details, but we're going to keep fighting to get that number up. So we do have the canopy in the right places that doesn't disenfranchise homeowners or anyone. So, yes, and ditto on the comments, but the environmental and shade trees work. It's one of the longest committee meetings that I go to each month, but well worth it. A couple quick things. Sierra Leone community is celebrating its independence. A little timing issue, so we're going to read the proclamation at the council meeting in May, but they will be having, and this is the 64th year of celebration of their independence. For comparison, if my math is right, that would be where we were at in 1840. As far as, we look at it differently in this country, but it is a very meaningful aspect. So anyway, they're going to have a flag raising and a small ceremony in Naaman Williams Park this Sunday for those who want to attend, but we'll be doing a formal proclamation at the next meeting. Something was brought up about the Hamilton plan, and I'm not sure. Bring your questions, but I know I've announced, and I know we've kind of bothered pushing to get it up there. We have it on our website. The manager has
I'm going to give him directions. I think I know what he's looking for. You're down that path right now.
So the point is, we're not only transparent about it. We want people to read these. We want them to get involved. And I know not everybody can come to these meetings. And with the one was on Hamilton last month, as you properly mentioned. But it's there. Please go through it. There's links to send comments. And with that in mind, May 6th. Easton Avenue has having its public session. And although I'd like to see it in person, it's convenient. They're doing it online, and in a way I think that might, we'll put that up online and we'll talk about it. I'll report on it. But the point is, May 6th, anyone interested in what's probably going to be millions and millions of dollars by the federal government, May 6th, 6 to 8 p.m., online. You can just watch or you can participate. There's ways to submit questions. Prior, there's a way to submit or live, and then there's a way to submit commentary for 30 days. That's what it is, a public commentary time, so that they may go back and amend it. And believe me, they do tweak it based on what the feedback they get, not only from council members and the study team, but from the public. So please engage, and when I'm done, Mr. Verlacher can maybe clarify the easiest way to get to it. But no, that information is definitely available. And anybody can send me an email if they want to know about any of the studies, and I'll do what I can to get you the link. A few other items. Sorry, I lost my place here. We did have a public safety meeting. We went to several meetings, but I'm just going to mention a couple things from that. People don't know, if you travel domestically, you don't have to have a passport. If you have one, you don't need to get a real ID, but if you or children do not have a passport to travel domestically, May 7th is the deadline, and I believe there's some brochures in the lobby, I believe, like this about how to do that. Just wanted to let people know, because if you do go to travel domestically and you don't have a passport, it will be a problem after May 7th if you don't have the real ID. A couple other things. I hear the Franklin Township Police podcast, which is named The Briefing Room, is doing wonderful. Please look that up online. They're getting, a matter of fact, I think other towns are starting to, I don't want to say steal, but follow our lead with that. There is a summer youth program, July 8th to July 18th. We're accepting, I think, somewhere around 30 youth. It's free. It's for ages from 8th grade to 12th graders. There's please look on I believe it's on our website. The other thing, I know opiate funds were mentioned in the past. We're teaming up with Middle Earth, our public safety team, our public safety department is teaming up with Middle Earth. June 24th to August 21st. Children 14 to 16, or maybe I should say teenagers 14 to 16, can sign up. Again, look online, look on our township website. I believe we'll actually be paying them to come learn about drug awareness, learn about employment, other skills and tips on getting employment. But that opiate funds, I should say, is going to good use, and Middle Earth is a big part of that. So look online for that. Those are the main issues from the public safety meeting. But just to follow up, I know Councilwoman Francois covered it. I don't know what's going to happen, but obviously the state rolled out a major thing when they made cannabis towns able to decide all these different levels of legalization. The bottom line is, I know we all chimed in. I know I pushed for getting hours that they weren't all night. So we did tweak it. It can be tweaked in the future. The state may come out with some changes. It definitely wasn't the perfect rollout, but we did rely on very specific information from the state, and I believe collectively made our decisions accordingly. And hopefully, when this all lands, it will work, or at least work to a degree that's fair to everybody. I think a lot of other stuff was covered. But please consider that May 6 Easton Avenue corridor plan. You don't have to live on Easton or near it to be involved. Most people in this town at some point or another will travel there. That's enough for tonight. The rest could wait for the next meeting. Thank you,
Are you going to
Madam
speak on
Deputy
what
Mayor.
we talked about?
Oh, thank you. One last thing. For some reason, and I'm glad it's happened, we have a whole slew of applications for people wanting to serve on various committees, commissions, and boards. And I'm not going to talk about all of them, but with our Hamilton Street board, which is a very important advisory board, especially now with all the work going on. The bottom line is we have now probably a half a dozen people who want to serve as a resident member. We need to go and adjust, whether it's through ordinance or resolution, to expand. Well, we'll have to look into it, but our hope is to expand a little bit the geography, because right now it's very strict. If you don't live like literally within a few hundred feet of Hamilton Street, you don't qualify to be a resident member. I remember 2 years ago, brought up, let's expand to residential members. Let's, we don't necessarily can't think we do it for the entire town, but we're going to look and try to come up with a fair formula that allows some of the wonderful people who have applied to serve, but before to be able to serve, just because they live a block or two further than the way the map is drawn right now. So we're going to go back to the drawing board. I know Councilwoman Francois and the other people on the committee.
Yeah, I mean, well, I can tell you why it is what it is. I mean, the line is
no,
the special improvement.
I know it is. Yeah,
Right.
but we are.
It is the SID.
Right.
I mean,
but
you can
adjust
you can
it
make the advisory board whatever you want it to be, because it's simply an advisory.
No, you're right,
Yeah.
Mr. Rohrlacher. I just didn't want to get that
That's where the
detailed.
line
We're
comes
following the rules, but we can go back. We have the freedom to adjust the map in the qualifications for residents. So now more than ever, we want to get more residents involved, and I'm going to, Councilwoman Francois and I will work, and I sense the other two council members on the Hamilton board would also be in favor of seeing more community involvement.
I think it's important to address your question, sir. I think you're Elorm, am I saying it right? Elorm?
Yes.
So you fall outside of that special improvement district, the map, the line. But technically, we do have a residential, 100% residential member slot open, but we can't fill it with you because you don't live inside the map. So if we change the ordinance, then we can expand the area for people like you so that you can become a member. So that's what he's talking about. We need to do that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing stopping us from doing it. We just haven't done it. Okay.
And we could even
we would
bring
like
in
to
a few
have you
more
on there.
And I
Okay.
provided him with Vince Dominac's contact information as the
beautiful.
executive director for him to speak with him tomorrow.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Excellent. So we'll get to work on that right away. But yes, thank you, Councilwoman, for bringing that up. Deputy Mayor Madun, thank you.
Thank you. And I like hearing that a lot of folks are starting to apply and take notice that there are some vacancies available. So as you see it, you're more than welcome to apply for it, and then we'll take a review and let you know. I just had a few things. I think most of it has been discussed already by council members. I don't want to repeat a lot of it. Today is Earth Day, and what I have done, Councilman Potasnik, you'll like this. I actually packeted some reusable soaps and made some hygiene kits that go out to AIDS, any kind of hurricane, the California fires, right? It was really interesting to hear the stories, but they take these hot soaps from the hospitals and they build it back and mold it and pack it up for any sort of disaster or relief or first aid. So it was really interesting. I did that today. And if you haven't done something, you should definitely do something to help support Earth. Canal Walk. So I was there last week. I met with a couple of the residents. Just a couple things that I do want to talk about. There were discussions around some littering done on Mettler's Lane, West End, that's being looked at. And as you see it coming in, definitely what I always say, and this is my annual announcement, annual spring announcement is, we have a website that's up on Franklin Township. As soon as you go in, you'll see that you can report it. It's a click. You can report anything on street maintenance, littering, anything that has an issue. You can take a picture of it and then report it. It takes a minute or so, and it's great because it gets ticketed, logged, and our specific departments will review it and get back. So it's a really easy way to just log a ticket on anything that you may have a question on, potholes or street signages. I do want to repeat that thing about the 31 schoolhouse. I know I mentioned on the last council, and I was also asked in Kanawak regarding the schoolhouse road about the dirt trucks that are going in and out. We did address it, as Township Manager mentioned. He did reach out to the development team, the construction team, and was able to reroute that out. So thank you for working on that and for them being so considerate and understanding that this is causing an issue. Just want to make sure that everyone understands what we had to do to make sure that works. It's also noted that there is specific lot that has, in that area, has like a forest, like a wooded lot, and it has some dead trees. We looked at that as well, and that is currently at a natural state. Mr. Township Manager, do you want to say anything else?
It's a wooded lot. And there's no requirement when a tree falls in the woods, it falls in the woods. And we don't require them to go clear it out. It's the woods. Fallen trees create habitat for squirrels and rabbits, and it's a fallen tree in the woods.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, does it make noise if there's no one there to hear it? I don't know, but we also don't make them cut them up and drag them away. Improved lots where you have a house, a building, then you have a tree fall down, you have to cut it up and move it away. But when it's in the woods, we don't require you to do that.
Thank you. We also addressed, we looked at, it was a report about Dunkin' Donuts on Elizabeth Ave having some concrete issues on their driveway. Township Manager has already reported that.
Sure. Well, the driveway is currently being proposed for alterations to change the flow of traffic in that shopping center. So we're not going to have them go out there and make concrete repairs when they're going to be in probably very short order ripping it out to put it in a different design. So, yeah.
And I believe the owner has already got some proposals.
The engineer
Yes.
contracted by the owner is finalizing the plans for review by the township.
Thank you. And then intersection between Elizabeth Ave and Schoolhouse, there was a report of having no street light. That's something.
So we turned it over to the police department to investigate for streetlights. The problem is if you go out there and look at the two poles that are at that intersection, there are, and I kid you not, there look to be about 30 different utility lines on each pole. You have to have space on a pole to put a street light. So if there's no space on the street, and listen, I wouldn't argue the point that it would be nice to have a street light there. I travel through it quite often. I'll be traveling through it tonight on my way home. It is a little dark there. There needs to be some place to put the street light. So I've turned it over to the police department to investigate to see if public service can get one on a pole there.
Perfect, thank you. I don't want to talk about any of the other two that came up. They are under, the warehouses are under legal litigation, so I'll keep it that short. So back to Councilman Vestanella's comment on this real ID. So just on Monday, our public safety director, Quavella, and I were at Somerset Run, and we did a real ID seminar. There's been a lot of misleading information around the real ID, and folks had reached out to me on whether their license was real because it says real ID, and I think that's, in my opinion, it's a silly of saying real ID. Should have been like travel, domestic, something else than real ID, because it creates a lot of confusion. So with the help of public safety director, we did a seminar, and one, it was a full house. We had to add more seats in. We had 40 people that showed up. So it is a real concern. The seniors are concerned, and I have addressed it. I have also sent out communication to Canal Walk HOA for them to distribute information. I've sent it out to Summerfields, just so that folks know and understand that that this real ID is for domestic travel. If you have a passport, you're not fighting to get on because you are able to travel. You have an active passport. If you don't and you're traveling domestic to, let's say, California, Florida, and you're trying to use your license, that's going to be an issue after May 7th. So I just want to avoid of everyone going in trying to get this real ID and maybe allow the folks that absolutely need it, that don't have a passport and they're traveling the next 2 weeks to get it. I heard, maybe if you try to do Thursday mornings, it might be a better time sometimes, and do it outside, some other locations that are nearby. You might get luck. I know Assemblyman Joe Danielson, and I spoke about this. He's trying to get a mobile unit out on Elizabeth Ave on May 8th. It hasn't been posted yet, and we only have a certain amount of spots. So as soon as I find information, I'll share it. It hasn't been posted yet online because we're still working out the logistics, but you will be notified as soon as I find out. Cameras are installed. I'm so happy to hear that, Township Manager, because I think that's one thing I've been following up. I know we're still waiting on a couple more, except for one pole, and several of them going up, but it's exciting to hear that they are finally up.
Cameras are going up.
Perfect. What else? I think I covered everything. I do want to mention to Mr. Jack, I was one of the members that went to the grand opening, along with Councilman Anbarasan. I think if you look back, you'll notice that we get invited to all sorts of grand opening. Majority of the time, Councilman Anbarasan and I go to those grand opening as time permits, right? Are we related to people that we go? No, we're not, right? But to make that assumption is something that's broad, and I completely agree with Mr. Anbarasan is that, to say that is out of context, right? We're not related to them. So I just want to point that out that, that was sad because we do look like them, right? So, So again, we get asked to go to grand openings all the time, and when we go to majority of them, and you can check those on our media sites, right? We go to majority of them. So I just want to put that out there. That's all I have. And Councilman Ram, did you have anything else you want to add to one more thing Councilman Wright said?
Yeah, so the Affordable Housing Seminar on Thursday is at 6 p.m. right here, and I have a flyer, and this is on our website as well. No registration required. You're welcome to just walk in. Tomorrow. No.
It's tomorrow.
Thursday.
No,
Thursday.
his is Thursday.
Okay, Thursday.
Tomorrow is the energy.
Tomorrow's energy, day after affordable housing.
Township
Tree falls
Manager.
in the woods and hits your head. Do you remember what day you're going to a seminar? Okay. So Mr. Guy left the room. I wanted to address it, but he's no longer here. Perhaps he'll listen on TV. If you're interested in any study that's currently being conducted by either Franklin Township or within Franklin Township by another form of government, the Somerset County, the state, whatever it might be. If you go to the township homepage and you go to the pull down for government, and within that menu are studies for Hamilton Street, the safety improvement study, Easton Avenue and DeMott Lane. There's a project there that's being done by the county, funded by the federal government. Easton Avenue corridor improvements, again, same county, funded by the feds. The Franklin Township BI study, which is funded by the township, and the Hamilton Street traffic study, also funded by the township. The links to all of them are there, as well as for the well of it, which was the health needs assessment done by the township in conjunction with Sustainable Jersey. So they're all there. So that's one. He also raised I don't quite know, and I was glad that Councilman Wright touched on it in his report. If you are interested in participating in any type of recreational program here in Franklin Township, be it through our recreation department for adults. The recreation department also does summer camp, does youth programs, as well as the youth center programs. Everything is on our website. And people in the past have said, well, sometimes people don't have internet. That's true. The 2020 census indicated that 97% of households in Franklin Township have internet. I can't advertise for the 3% that don't have internet. We put things out in our newsletter that lists all of the programs for that period of time that newsletter serves. So that's in print. That goes to every mailing address in Franklin Township. So between our internet presence and Rec Desk, which is the program on our website that you register for programs with, it's social media, our Facebook pages through the Recreation Department, the Youth Center, Instagram, Twitter, all of those social media outlets all have the programs that are being offered and advertise those programs. I mean, I think that staff does a pretty darn good job of getting the information out to the public, and our public has access to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how else but that to do it.
And just, Mr. Manager, to add on to that, for a quick math, a couple thousand residents who may not, we do have free internet available at our library.
Absolutely.
No, I just want to make that mention because I know it may be a little hard to get there for some people, but we do have free internet available at the library for any resident. It's a small process. You go in and you can use.
Our website is available at the kiosk right outside this room.
And I think even some at the community center, but the library is where you can definitely go get free, which
yes.
I believe should be free for everybody, but it is there.
97% of
No, I got you. I just want to make sure that people who don't have it are aware that we have free internet.
And they could also go over to the community center and pick up flyers as well, the senior community center, or they could go to the youth center and pick up flyers.
Yes.
So that, you know,
they're available in all those locations.
Make a visit.
So if you really want to participate,
Yeah.
and I will tell you that we get website inquiries on a fairly regular basis. Every website inquiry, regardless of department, goes to me, which means I get hundreds of them, and I read them, all right? Every single one, whether you're sending it to Public Works, construction department, clerk's office, I get them all. They come in for the youth center, they come in for the recreation department, and people ask questions, and those questions are responded to. So it's there. So I don't know where Mr. Guy is looking, but it's kind of in your face.
I think one of the points he was making, and I probably should have addressed that. We did get state funding and federal funding, specifically over at the youth center, and we are implementing programs and services over there.
And that's what's paying for all of those programs.
But I think that was the point he was making.
Well, the point is that at our budget hearing, we spoke at length about the fact that the reason why the youth center budget is so low this year is because all of their programming is being funded by those grants.
Yeah.
So we are telling people they just have to listen.
Yeah, I think he was specifically talking about that.
So, and that's all I have.
I think, isn't communication also going out through like Nexel? Like if you have phones,
Well,
sometimes
we don't generally put nixels out for recreation programs, no.
But the important ones.
Absolutely important information goes out via nixel, yes.
Okay. Okay, now moving on, we're at item number 11, approval of minutes, none submitted. Approval of warrants. This is where we pay our bills. So warrants in the amount of $15,008,36.30 on April 22nd are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Any discussion on this item? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Botasnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Public hearing and adoption of ordinance on second reading. So we're at item 13. A ordinance number 4461-25, ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do we have a motion to open to public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion's carried. You may come up and discuss on this specific topic, ordinance 4461-25, 5-minute, no yielding of time.
Seeing no one come forward, Madam Deputy Mayor, on motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Public is closed. A motion to adopt. Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Motion carried. All right, now we're at item B, ordinance number 4462-25, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 180 fees, Section 180-2, available from collector of revenue. Collection fee for redemption request is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say
Aye.
no. And the public, it's open to the public, so you have discuss on this particular item only, 5-minute, no yielding of time.
Seeing no one coming forward, Madam Deputy Mayor, I'll motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion to adopt? Do we have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Ordinance number 4463-25, we're at item 14, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 230, massage body work and somatic therapy, Section 230-12, prohibited acts. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township of Council for adoption on first reading, posting publication in accordance with law and public hearing and final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, May 13, 2025 at 7 p.m. in Council Chamber. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Ordinance number 4464-25, an ordinance is to acquire by purchase of concession certain lands within the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, for the purpose of open space preservation pursuant to NJSA 4812-13A for property known as the El Khatib property, also known as Block 286, Lot 14.02, and commonly known as 360 Franklin Boulevard, Somerset, New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, May 13, 2025 at 7 p.m. in Council Chambers. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Barrison?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Potosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Okay, Deputy Mayor, I want to just be clear on this last ordinance that was just introduced. I know it says 360 Franklin Boulevard, which might be somewhat confusing to people because 360 Franklin Boulevard is a church. And we went down this road one time recently about purchasing land in East Millstone that was also previously owned by a church. The address for the parcel is listed as 360 on tax records. It's actually the property behind the church at 360 Franklin Boulevard, which was subject to a subdivision several years ago and was owned by a developer. I think it's a 5 or 6 lot subdivision that would have had access off of Belmar Street. That particular property is heavily wooded. Mr. Gillooly just left and would have liked to have learned this. The purpose of purchasing this as open space is that it is in fact a heavily wooded area in the 4th Ward in a densely populated area that the township can purchase and preserve and leave in its current state without any other development.
Lots of trees.
Lots of trees.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Ordinance 4465-25, capital ordinance providing for the acquisition of property for the property known as the El Khatib property as located at Block 286, Lot 14.02, and also known as 360 Franklin Boulevard in the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $47,065, therefore, from the Open Space Trust Fund of the Township of Franklin to pay for the cost, therefore, the foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting publication in accordance with law and public hearing, and final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, May 13 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussions on this item? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Madam Clerk.
We need a roll. It's an ordinance.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Petosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Ordinance 4466-25, capital ordinance appropriating $998,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund to pay for various capital acquisitions and improvements for the Township of Franklin, the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting publication in accordance with the law, and public hearing and final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, May 13 at 7 p.m. in council. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Petosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Any questions? Comments? Yes? None? Okay. Ordinance 4467-25, bond ordinance providing for various 2025 capital improvements and equipment acquisitions by and in the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $9,959,994, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $9,461,994.30 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. The foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption at a meeting of the Township Council to be held on Tuesday, May 13 at 7 p.m. in council chamber. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Petosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Any questions, comments, discussion for this item? No. Okay. Ordinance number 446825, bond ordinance providing for various 2025 capital improvements for the water utility by and in the Township of Franklin in the County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, appropriating $46,964,950, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $6,964,950 bonds or notes of the Township of Finance. The cost, therefore, the foregoing ordinance is presented to the Township Council for adoption on first reading, posting publication in accordance with law, and public hearing and final adoption at a meeting of Township Council to be held on Tuesday, May 13 at 7 p.m. in council chambers. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Petosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay, any comments, questions on this particular item? No? Okay. Now we're at item 15, consent agenda. The items A to U as listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois?
Yes.
Councilman Karazi?
Yes.
Councilmember Petosnik?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Dean?
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Okay. We're at item 16, resolutions voted on separately. There's none. Item 17, old business. Does anyone have any nominations for 2025 boards, committees, commission vacancies?
I have one nomination, Deputy Mayor, for Trades Advisory Committee. I place Patrick Murray to be included in the regular member, unexpired 4-year term ending 12/31/2028.
Do we have any other nominations for this particular committee? No, we can do it all by acclamation. Okay, everyone in favor of this, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. And congratulations for him. Any other nominations by anyone?
Not today.
That's it? Okay. There are no executive session, and we are now towards the end of the meeting. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Oh, second.
In discussions, any items? None? Thank you so much. Good night.